Charlie Can from Etex Telephone Cooperative. Kano, excuse me.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Schwartner, Vice Chairman Nichols, and members of the committee. I'm Charlie Cano, General Manager and CEO of Etex Telephone Cooperative and its unregulated subsidiary, Etex Communications. I have an electrical engineering degree, and for the first 6 years of my now 25-year career, I was a telecom engineering consultant for many rural providers in the state. My comments today are based on my engineering background and experience. Texas needs a common standard to avoid subpar technology and make sure that we follow the best engineering practices specific to each region. That includes highlighting examples where trusted community providers are providing robust, scalable networks in rural areas. And with federal and state broadband funding, we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to get this right. It would be short-sighted and wasteful to build a network that runs out of capacity in 5 years. So let's get my technology nerd rant out of the way. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about microprocessors and Moore's Law, but let's talk about the consumer experience and the consumer perspective. Research shows that this device in your pocket has a lifespan of about 2.5 years. Computers, home electronics, other smart devices in your home have a lifespan about 5 to 6 years before consumers feel the pressure to upgrade to get the latest in services. The streaming market is estimated to reach a $247 billion in value by 2027. Big tech companies and streaming services will keep growing and cannibalize their old services and their old technology to get consumers to buy their latest products, all over the networks that providers like me have to build and maintain. This demand also includes the small lane needed for the essential remote workers, business productivity applications, education, and telemedicine. Now, don't get me wrong, we want the digital revolution to benefit all industries. We want emergency services to be more responsive. We want our law enforcement to be better equipped and safer. So how does this affect our network, and what are we doing about it? Our customer internet usage has grown our aggregated backhaul internet traffic by over 1,000% in 5 years. In East Texas region, we have mostly sandy soil, so we bury all of our fiber facilities. We build fiber ring protection and have protection between middle offices. Our routers and fiber transport electronics get updated or replaced every 10 years when they become obsolete. In engineering, there's no such thing as technology neutral. Just like when you build highways and structures, there's no such thing as being material neutral. Because of this fiber deployment strategy, Etex residential customers have improved from a 10 megabits per second to over an 80 megabits per second average download speed in the last 5 years. But the job is not done. We continue to upgrade our old networks and improve our underserved customers. We successfully compete with other providers in the region and connect to over 40 schools and colleges. We have built fiber networks to small rural towns, and we competitively provide fiber facilities to close to 100 4G towers in the East Texas region. On Monday, March 21st, 10:20 p.m., an F2 tornado touched down just a half mile south of my house in Upshur County. With wind speeds of 134 miles an hour and a destruction path of 700 yards wide, it proceeded in a northeast direction for 40 miles, causing damage to structures, aerial facilities, farm equipment, and households. Thankfully, there were no losses of life. Etex Communications suffered no storm damage and related damages or outages to our network. The following day, our Etex crews were able to assist residents in cleanup instead of having to worry about network repairs. That is engineering best practices. Rural Texas provides energy, food, textiles, military training space, and other open space dependent services that do not fit in the cities. We know broadband is essential for all industries and advancement of our great state. So what do I ask? Is that the Broadband Development Office prioritize high-cost areas that do not have the customer density and revenues to keep pace with the network upgrades based on our engineering best practices. And for the Broadband Office to recognize and rely on performance data of the providers that are known as good community partners. You're always welcome to come and visit us at Etex. My staff and my technicians will give you the unfiltered truth of what it takes to be a rural broadband provider.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Senator Nichols?
Mr. Chairman and members, I saw an amazing presentation that they made. I think it's important to point out. We talk about partnering a lot, and this is very applicable to the East Texas, to the electric co-ops, because you've already got the easements and stuff. But they called me and asked me to go to Palestine, and this was about a year ago, that there was going to be a presentation and a proposal for broadband in Anderson County that I represent. Well, I didn't really know what they meant, and so I went. State rep was there, county judge, mayor, the what do you call it, the Economic Development Corporation was there, the chamber was there, and then some community leaders were there. There's about 40 or 50 people there. They basically pointed out who they were and what they'd done. And they pointed out that in the adjacent county, they had run was it this size or bigger?
Yes, minimum of this size.
Something like this. The big trunk system had run from several counties north all the way into my home county of Cherokee. And they said, what we would like to do is follow the highway from Jacksonville to Palestine about 30 miles and run the trunk around the loop. Of course, everybody wants to do that. They need high-speed internet over there. They realize it's important for the community. And he said, we think it's going to cost us about $2.5 million. And here's the proposal. We will pay for half if you will pay for half. And he says, when I say y'all or you, he says, we don't really care if it's the county, the city, the development corporation, or the community chips in the money. We don't really care. Y'all come up with half. We will give you 20% of the revenue until you get all your money back. And everybody was kind of shocked. Somebody raised their hand and said, well, why does the 20% have to stop when we get our money back? And somebody else raised their hand and said, well, why can't we get 25% instead of 20%? And he smiled. He says, okay, now y'all want to negotiate. That's what I'm here for. So y'all get together, figure out who's going to do what. Let's get together in a few weeks. We'll come back and we'll sit down and we'll negotiate something. I think within 6 weeks, y'all had the agreement. Within 3 months, they're laying cable. And now they've got it in Anderson County, real high-speed broadband that some people spend years planning. And so my point is, if they can do it that quick, other entities who know what they're doing can reach out and partner, whether it's an electric co-op who's not quite familiar with cable, broadband, or some of these counties or whatever. But there's a lot of ways to do it. If they can do it and that quick, we can do it around the state real quick too. So I was amazed. I thought I wanted to share that with y'all.
Thank you, Senator, for those comments.